Hey there, this is Natalie, and I thought that as we wait for the final chapter, now would be a good time for an Attack on Titan iceberg video. There are lots of different versions of the Attack on Titan theory iceberg that fans have made and added to as the story progressed, but the one I'm going to be using here is the most recent and comprehensive one I could find, and it was posted on the Shingeki no Kyojin subreddit by user Mediocre's Son, and I'll be putting a link to that in the description. I'm going to go through and explain the most interesting things from the iceberg, as well as where some of these long-standing theories have either been confirmed or debunked by the latest chapters, so there will be Attack on Titan manga spoilers ahead, but just a quick reminder before I start that I'll be covering all the latest news and theories in the run-up to chapter 139, and then doing analysis on the series as a whole once we've got the ending. So please consider subscribing if you want more Attack on Titan analysis, theories and discussion. So we start with the tip of the iceberg, and here we've got Jean is a horse. This refers to all of the jokes over the years that stem from Erin calling Jean a horse early in the story. It's mostly just one of the inside jokes within the fan community, though some people do take it further, with the idea that Jean, who was turned into a pure Titan in chapter 138, may eat Peak and become the Cart Titan. It's not impossible for this to happen, but it would be really weird if the horse stuff turns out to have been foreshadowing all along. Up here we also have both Erin is the father and Farmer-kun is the father, both referring to who knocked up Historia, and we still don't know which of these is right, making it a reveal for the final chapter. This ties into the final panel, which Isayama showed a sketch of ages ago, featuring a man holding a baby with the line, "You are free now." The man is only shown from the back and it's a rough sketch, but his hair does resemble the farmer more than Erin. Of course, it could be the farmer holding Erin's baby because Erin is dead and he's raising it with Historia, or this could be a totally different baby being held by someone else entirely, like perhaps a post-time skip Armin or Jean. Also up here at the tip of the iceberg, we have Guren no Yumiya. This refers to the first opening of the anime, and the fact the fandom have never been able to agree on what the first lines, which are in German, actually say, between a version that translates as, "You are the food and we are the hunters," and "Are we the food? No, we're the hunters." Next tier down has No Regrets, which is probably the best known of the various side content and OVAs for Attack on Titan, along with Attack on Titan Junior High, which is an alternate universe spin-off. But there aren't really any interesting theories on this level, so we'll continue down. Next we have Peak's golden ratio, which refers to Peak's arse forming a Fibonacci curve. We also have Lost Girls here, which is another set of side stories that have been, over the years, released as visual novels, books and OVAs. And at this level, we're just considering familiarity with the content of these stories, the first of which is about Annie, and the second, Mikasa. But as we go deeper, there are theories about Mikasa's Lost Girls story, which I've actually covered in a recent video. At this level, we also have the Armin is the narrator theory, which is still a popular one, with a lot of people thinking Armin is the one telling the story, and that this means he won't die before the end. The big counter-argument to this is that post-time skip, we see a lot of stuff in the Marley arc that Armin wasn't present for, and wouldn't know from Bertholt's memories either. We also have the editor saved Sasha theory, which is that Isayama was originally going to have Sasha die during the scene where she saves the girl, but it made his editor cry, and so Isayama decided to save her. This didn't actually happen. Isayama was in two minds about what he was going to do with Sasha in this scene, but it was his idea to save her, and the editor simply made a joke about crying when he heard about it. Everyone pretty much agrees that having Sasha killed later in the story, and bringing Kaya, the girl she rescued, into Gabby and Falco's storyline was much more interesting than if she'd died here. We also have Hanji Is Non-Binary. This is because it was never really clear in the early arcs of the manga, from the way she was referred to and drawn, what Hanji's gender was, and Isayama said people could basically decide for themselves. However, in the anime, Hanji was portrayed as a woman, and since then, while some people still like the idea of Hanji being non-binary and go with it, the majority of people now know her as a female character. Then there's the original ending. This is the idea that there was an ending planned before the manga and anime became popular, where everybody died in the forest. Moving down to the next level, we have the high school alternate universe bleed-in theory. This relates to the fact a tiny memory shard was shown for Erin in chapter 120 that featured what looked like alternate universe goth Mikasa and nerd Armin characters who appear in parody volume previews, which some people took to mean that the alternate universe was a canon parallel reality that was actually going to play a part in the main story, tying into various time loop and alternate reality theories. However, the most likely explanation for this is that it was just an Easter egg for fans. We also have Erin knows the ending, a theory which is still alive and well with only one chapter to go, which relates to Erin having already been shown memories from the ending through the Attack Titan. There's also Reiner's split personality disorder, which relates to the scenes before the time skip where Reiner is shown to sometimes forget who he really is and believe he really is the person he posed as while he was within the walls. Reiner definitely has a pretty fragile and damaged mental state, but he doesn't show signs of completely split personalities again after he's returned to Marley. So this is likely to be the result of the stress of being undercover and becoming so close to his enemies. Next level down, we have the live action films. I've only seen the first one of these and it was really bizarre, as well as being frankly terrible. They replaced Levi with some random guy, and the whole thing seemed to be mostly about love triangles. We also have here that Peak was originally supposed to be a man. This relates to a bit of trivia that Isayama did consider designing Peak as a middle-aged man. I'm really glad we live in the timeline where he didn't do that. Next, we have the rumours of a Western live-action Attack on Titan movie adaptation, which is apparently a project that does exist, though I'm not sure that anybody will be excited to hear that. It does seem to be stuck in development hell, which is probably for the best in all honesty. We're 7 layers down now, and here's an interesting one about dirty messages in chapter 57. This is a real thing, where Levi's wanted poster can be turned upside down and read as katakana, and it's basically a dirty poem. Isayama claims he didn't actually do this himself or know about it, and it was added as a joke by an editor. We also have Reiner is Hellos. This is the theory that Reiner will have a big heroic moment that will parallel the in-world historical figure of Hellos, and that after the events of Attack on Titan, he'll be regarded in the same way, as one of the heroes of humanity. This level also includes opening and ending foreshadowing, which is a whole field of theories, including theories that the ending of Season 2 revealed a lot of things from later in the story. I do have a video going into the Season 2 ending if you're interested in that. There's also the theory that Mikasa's Lost Girls story hints at Erin's death. The whole story of the OVA is essentially Mikasa seeing a vision of an alternate version of her childhood, which she sees after Erin gets eaten in Season 1 when she believes him to be dead. In the vision, even though everything is different, including Mikasa's parents not dying and the Survey Corps being disbanded, Erin still tries to go outside of the walls in a hot air balloon he built with Armin. As I said, I do have a whole video explaining the OVA and the various theories about it, but this theory relates to the lines in Lost Girls that hint to Erin's death being unavoidable, because he carries death in his body. Now, while Erin does seem to have been killed by Mikasa in chapter 138, I think if these lines in this story from 2013, which was written by Hiroshi Seko, one of the screenwriters on the anime, rather than Isayama himself, were hinting at anything, it's more likely to be the curse of Ymir, which is an unavoidable death that Erin was carrying in his body at the time Mikasa had the vision, and which she and Erin didn't know about at the time. Next, we have that the spine creature is extraterrestrial, which seems not to be the case, where we learned more about the life organism in chapter 137. At the 8th level down, we have Yeast Titans. This was an old theory from MatPat that the Titans worked like yeast. Before we knew about the paths, it was a common thing for people to try to figure out how the Titans worked from a physical perspective, and this was what he came up with. It's not the case, but it's funny to remember that anyone ever thought that yeast was going to play a big part in one of the big reveals in this story. Then we have that Mikasa's headaches happen when timelines are altered. This is something that again ties into the various Lost Girls theories, as well as to the vision Mikasa saw in chapter 138, though this iceberg was made before chapters 137 and 138 were released. We still don't really know what the deal is with the headaches, but they seem to relate more to her being able to receive visions of different ways things could have been, than to alternate timelines that are being changed in that moment, given that what she sees during her headache in chapter 138 is a dream of a different life that would have been caused by things diverging quite a long time before she actually has the dream. We also have the theory that Erin is stuck in a continuous cycle, repeating the same events over and over again to try to reach a particular ending. I personally don't like this theory at all for a number of reasons that I've talked about in other videos, but it's something a lot of people still like to theorize will be a factor in the ending. Next, we have that the Yeast Titan is based on SCP-1000. The SCP Foundation is a collaborative web fiction project, and SCP-1000 is the designation they use for Bigfoot and Sasquatch type monsters, and they're supposed to be of human intelligence. The Yeast Titan has been confirmed to take completely different animal forms for its different holders, but Zeke's ape-style titan may well have been inspired in some way by this kind of cryptozoology. Another one that we get here at level 9 is that Erin killed his mother by influencing Dina's titan to attack her. The theory is that he did this to motivate his younger self to take the course of action that he did, giving him the resolve that sticks with him for the rest of the story. At the deepest layer of the iceberg, we have the theory that Attack on Titan is just Erin showing the reader his memories. This is kind of like the Armin is the narrator theory, in that it doesn't really work when you consider that Erin isn't always involved in the things we see, particularly some of the political machinations going on in season 3, and a lot of stuff from after the time skip. Even if he could see other people's memories, it doesn't seem like everything we're shown from outside of Erin's point of view is things Erin would see as particularly interesting or necessary if he was just telling his story, so it seems unlikely. We also have the real-world theory that Isayama, the author of Attack on Titan, is also Sui Ishida, the author of Tokyo Ghoul. Ishida is known to be a pen name, and nobody knows the identity of the Tokyo Ghoul author, but some fans think there are strong enough similarities between the works of Ishida and Isayama that Isayama could be Ishida. Most people don't really see it though, and it seems to be more one of those things that's fun to speculate about than a very likely answer to the mystery of Ishida's identity. Finally, we have the theory that the ending has already unknowingly been leaked somewhere. With all of the various theories and, with each new chapter, several rounds of things that claim to be leaks but are later just revealed to be yet more incorrect theories, it could be possible that at some point in the history of the series, real leaks for the ending have existed somewhere out there on the web, and the fanbase as a whole, Isayama and Kodansha the publishers, are all unaware of this. We may never know if this actually happened, even after the real ending is revealed in April. So, those to me are the most interesting things on this iceberg to talk about at the current point in the manga. But if you've spotted anything on the iceberg, or on different Attack on Titan icebergs that I didn't talk about here, or you have any thoughts about any of these things, feel free to discuss them in the comments. Once again, please subscribe for ongoing Attack on Titan coverage and analysis, as well as theories for other series, including ReZero. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope to see you again very soon.